Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about Palantir Technologies, and we will be analyzing 3 articles. The first one is titled, PLTR Dives as Analysts Dampen Expectations. After that, we'll move on and talk about their latest price targets and price predictions by professionals to determine if we as investors should buy or hold this company. Again, we should take these considerations from professionals with a grain of salt, because just because they give us price predictions doesn't mean the stock will actually meet these price projections. We're just trying to get what Wall Street's current sentiment is regarding Palantir Technologies. So once we move on from that, we will talk about the latest news updates for this company and where I think they could be headed in the future regarding their PLTR stock price. So for more videos just like this one, remember to go and annihilate that like button, subscribe if you are new, comment down below where you think the share price is headed in the future, and without further ado, let's dive right into today's stories. Palantir Technologies, if you didn't know, is a big data and analytics company which serves both commercial enterprises as well as government clients. And over the last month, investors have been very excited about Palantir Technologies regarding their earnings report, to where their share price surged after the major excitement that investors received, considering that Palantir became profitable on a GAAP basis for that quarter. But with all of this excitement, a William Blair analyst recently commented, and he noted that there are potentially 6 big problems on their way for Palantir Technologies. There are 6 major government contracts that are up for review, and that means that potentially Palantir could lose 6 major contracts. The reason we know they're major is because 4 of these 6 contracts are literally among Palantir Technologies' largest contracts. So if they were ever to lose these contracts with the United States government, this would negatively impact Palantir's overall revenue. However, I personally think that they will re-land and these contracts will either be extended or new contracts will be signed, considering that Palantir Technologies has very sticky products and services. So there is the potential of a huge loss for Palantir Technologies coming up. However, I personally don't see this as a big risk, because I believe they will continuously extend those contracts because they have a fantastic relationship with the United States government. However, with that being said, they did recently lose a large contract over in Europe, considering that the German Federal Constitutional Court nullified Palantir's AI algorithm because they found it unconstitutional. So clearly Palantir is having some trouble over in Europe. So what do other professionals and analysts think about this particular company? Should we buy Palantir Technologies or should we hold it? Well, according to analyst Brian White, he believes that Palantir Technologies is actually well positioned to benefit from the recent demand that we have been experiencing in regards to big data, the cloud, and artificial intelligence. On top of that, I would also add the geopolitical landscape is very volatile right now, and during times of uncertainty, normally governments would gravitate back to institutions such as Palantir Technologies because Palantir gives them the ability to see through this overall uncertainty and potentially even prepare for war. That's why these government-related contracts, I am in pretty good confidence that they will be extended. But the author does warn investors that Palantir Technologies in the short term may not be the best investment, because he believes Palantir Technologies' darkest days are still ahead of them, at least in the short term. The analyst also believes this because he lowered his overall revenue estimates for the first quarter and the full year of 2023 regarding what Palantir Technologies will bring in regarding their overall sales, but he does still reiterate a hold rating for this company in general. So what do other professionals think about this company? Overall, this company does have a hold rating among various experts in this particular space, with 2 professionals saying to buy this company, 6 saying to hold this company, and 5 saying to sell this company. We need to keep in mind that these are short-term ratings. Essentially, these ratings will change over the next 12 months, but the average PLTR stock price target as of right now is $8.41, which would equate to a decline of 8.6% from their current stock price, which is close to $9.20. The lower end critics of this company believe the company could fall to as low as $5 per share, while bullish experts believe this company has the potential to surge up to $15 over the next 12 months. So Palantir stock could be a good investment to hold for the long term, but over the short term it seems that things could get pretty dicey for this particular company. While Palantir delivered fantastic Q4 2022 results regarding their overall profitability, their 2023 guidance has also excited investors, but as of right now, analysts have not caught on or changed their overall price predictions or price targets for this company, which is why the majority of them do not see further upside for this stock throughout the year of 2023. Now, with that in mind, because you need to weigh both the bullish scenario with the bearish scenario, let's move on to more of a positive article where this author believes that this company could do well in the mid to long term. And I would agree with them personally, because the author is very bullish on Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR, mainly due to the amount of data that is being produced by humans. More than ever before, we are making more data, which means companies and governments are going to become reliant on companies such as Palantir Technologies to go through and analyze this data so those types of institutions or enterprises can make the best data-driven decisions. And of course, this technology is built off of artificial intelligence. So the author's bullish sentiment for Palantir Technologies is not over the short term, but rather over the mid to long term, considering that more institutions and governments will have to rely heavily on Palantir's overall products and services. They believe that Palantir is well positioned to experience a demand increase and further tailwinds considering their digital transformation and artificial intelligence technology. And in my personal opinion, Palantir Technologies for a long-term investment over the next 5 to 10 years is a fantastic AI stock. The author goes on to say that Palantir is a growth stock and it's expected to grow over time, but not over the short term. Over the short term, you should focus on a low price target and a low entry point, so that particular investment can make you money over the mid to long term, especially as they build on their newfound profitability. AI, which is artificial intelligence, has become a very popular topic over the last few months, which is why Palantir could latch on to this overall demand and popularity, meaning that Palantir is in very good company to hopefully take advantage of this, causing the company in general to land more contracts while also increasing their overall exposure to investors regarding their shares. The author goes on to write that their bullish sentiment is partially based on Palantir's growing profitability. In the last quarter, it was their first positive gap basis earnings, which means that they brought in positive net income of around $31 million on a GAAP basis, which is why the initial share price skyrocketed in the first place. But right now we could see the share price fall over the next few months, considering that this company is more of a long-term investment and not a short-term investment. If you want to get in and get out of this company, feel free to do that, but if you are a long-term investor such as myself, don't expect any major returns from Palantir Technologies until after 2025, according to some experts. That's why this author is watching Palantir very closely, considering how consumer spending behavior is reacting to the overall macroeconomic pressure that we are experiencing right now in the general economy. Inflation is still very high, which means the Federal Reserve is still increasing interest rates, which is going to act as a negative for technology growth stocks such as Palantir Technologies. So until the macroeconomic environment changes, we can see that Palantir and other technology stocks could continue to suffer. That doesn't mean that the future isn't bright, because I believe it is, but in the short term, you need to be braced for the share price to go up and down and even start a downtrend. But over the mid to long term, this company still looks like a good overall investment, which is why this author is still bullish on Palantir Technologies. The author in his article also quotes Palantir's chief finance officer, who says, "As we look ahead to 2023, we will continue to exercise spend discipline, pace hiring while continuing to invest in high priority areas, including our product offerings, building out our go-to-market strategy and technical roles," end quote. And I think the CFO is right, and this should somewhat calm investors, because what he said, if it's true, Palantir Technologies is not really focused on the short term, they are focused on long-term wealth building. The author goes on to say that he expects the company to remain and maintain profitability while also growing their overall profitability throughout the next few years, especially as they land new customers and contracts. Palantir continues to grow their overall customer base for both their commercial segment as well as their government segment, which should outperform expectations over the mid to long term. That means in the future we could see more earnings reports that will translate over to positive catalysts for their overall share price due to Palantir beating their overall revenue estimates and their earnings per share estimates. If we look at their price to earnings ratio, the stock is currently trading at 36 times or a 36 multiple regarding their price to earnings or PE ratio, and that compares very favorably to their overall peer group, which has an average of 92.8 times for their PE multiple, making Palantir one of the better investment opportunities compared to other growth technology stocks like them, or at least in a similar space. Now, this doesn't make Palantir the best company to buy in this overall peer group, but clearly it separates them from the average. The only thing I would point out about averages is that if one company had a very high PE ratio, it's going to throw off the overall peer average, making Palantir seem better than it actually is. But from the chart down below, it seems that they really do hold their own in this particular area. On top of that, Wall Street is very skeptical of Palantir Technologies, and overall, they're just not bullish. The majority of professionals on Wall Street are mainly bearish when it comes to Palantir Technologies, which is also suppressing their overall share price, considering that many investors take these price targets as what the company should actually be worth, instead of actually analyzing and performing their own research on the company to dictate where the share price could be headed in the future. Since the beginning of the year, the company has done very well, especially since the overall Palantir stock price has surged by 44%, and this author expects them to continue that very positive trend, while other people such as myself believe that we could experience a pullback until their next earnings report. But over the mid to long term, I agree with the author, considering that demand will continuously increase globally for their big data capabilities and if artificial intelligence continues to sweep the overall market. The author concludes by saying that he believes that Palantir is in a great situation to grow their overall core business, but he does remind investors that in the near term, market uncertainty and overall macroeconomic factors could keep Palantir's overall share price suppressed. Again, that doesn't mean that this is a bad company, it just means over the next 12 months or so, we could see the overall share price trend downwards. But honestly, we're just going to have to wait and see for their next earnings report to determine where the share price is headed over the next few quarters or throughout the year of 2023. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Remember to go and annihilate that like button for more honest news updates just like this one on Palantir Technologies. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.